Hello, everyone from all around the world. Oh, Happy New Year. So, when we come upon a new year, sometimes you think of, oh, I am going to be 1 year older. So, today I'm going to talk about longevity, and not necessarily longevity of your biological age, but of our practice. And that is something that I feel like that I can speak about because I have been here for 11 years. And that's quite a long time. And here with me is Catherine, Miss Macy, who also has been practicing for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you start maybe 4 months after me, something like that? Like less than a year after me.
3 months after you.
3 months after me.
Yeah.
So we're the old timers. Wow.
Hi, Tanya.
Hi, Tanya. Tanya's been around for a long time too.
Yeah.
So my daughter, the older one, is applying to college. And one of the things that I've heard people say is when you talk about the activities and things that you're involved in, it's more important or it counts more if you've done them for longer as opposed to doing more activities but for a shorter period of time. I happen to believe that because they have done martial arts, volleyball, piano, Chinese, all for a pretty long time. And there are people who, and I'm not saying you shouldn't try new things because there's so many fun, different, exciting, things to do in this world, and it's good to try them. But I personally feel like you got to find a handful that are really important to you, and you stick with them. So how have I kept practicing for 11 years, and Catherine also for 11 years?
Go ahead.
So my first answer is actually the 5 ways of becoming great at martial arts, or rather the 7.5, right? Yes. That we talk about in the dojo quite often. So you got to find a great school, a great teacher. And it's got to be something, and I'm jumping to the end here, that you feel passionate about, that you want to tell people about, right? And the things in between, like patience, perseverance, practicing hard, practicing exactly how you want to perform, and then meditating. But you got the bookends of first you got to find a great instructor, then you got to be passionate about it. So that's key. And then Catherine, how about you jump in here? What's something that's kept you with this for over a decade?
Well, I think that the impacts that this has had outside of the dojo, like inside the dojo, obviously I've learned a lot because there's so much to learn here with all the self-defense techniques and things like that. But really it's how that gets applied outside of my life and how I've fundamentally changed who I am and how I approach life. And that's really pretty exciting. And it's just, I feel very blessed and very grateful to have found this school and to have found martial arts and to be able to be here and be in this environment so much. It's really a humbling experience.
And we talk about that in the dojo, right? It's take your practice outside the dojo and applying it outside the dojo. Can you give me one example of how that's impacted your life outside the dojo?
Yeah, sure. And it's a slightly funny example. So when I first started practicing, probably about maybe 6 months or so into my practice, we were having movie night with the kids and sort of Friday night dinner and like watching television things on movies. It wasn't actually movies, but it was reruns of Star Wars, The Clone Wars again.
Because it's so good. It's worth watching it over and over again.
But I myself enjoyed watching them once. But when the kids were little, they liked watching them things over and over and over and over and over and over and over again ad infinitum. So one night I said to the kids, I was like, I could sit and watch this episode of The Clone Wars again or I could go to class. So I said to my family, what do you think? Would you guys mind if I skipped movie night tonight and actually went to class? And they were like really enthusiastic. They were like, Mom, you're way better. We love you way more. You're way better as a human being when you go to martial arts. So I'm like, great. I'm going. See ya.
Okay.
But it's true. It's like the practice here has you be mindful, has you be in the moment, and it allows you to have that ability to not react to your circumstances. And I think I was a better mom because I came here. And I really learned to not be so snappy with my kids, which they are eternally grateful for.
Well, I'm also a mom. Our kids are friends, and we go hiking and stuff together. For me, it's also I also have an example that's family related, which is I do take our philosophy and our principles into how I raise my children, right? So it's not opponents, it's partners, and take that out to people that you come across and how you see them and interact with them. So that's only one of many examples, but it definitely has made me a better mother as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that was taking your practice outside the dojo as a way to kind of continue your practice for a long time. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about another way that kept my practice going. And so bear with me. So it's first going to sound like maybe not so great, but my practice has actually been a crutch, like crutches to me during parts of my life, parts of my practice. And so I know I'm not alone. I know there are other people who have gone through difficult times in their life, and they find purpose, meaning, community in the dojo. Mm-hmm. And that was a big thing and what kept them going and staying more positive than they otherwise could in that point in their life. And so, not that that's something you should always kind of resort to or fall back upon, but I think that's another great thing that our practice and our dojo brings to us, which is knowing that there are people who support you, mm-hmm. and that there's a practice that you can really get into and dive in and kind of make you forget about other things like the problems in your lives, right? So it's, in short, a kind of taking myself out of a difficult part of my life that brought value and is the way that kept me going in my practice, because I found that it was important in other ways.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I also think, just to add on to that too, is that our practice that we have here puts us in challenging situations. So it allows us to face those challenges and realize that, we lived through them. It might have felt overwhelming in the moment, and yet here we are still. And learning how to control your emotion and being in the difficultness of that allows you to carry that ability to be uncomfortable and still deal with what's life is throwing at you as well. And I think that's right. A really big strength that this practice provides for us.
Right.
Yeah.
It's presenting that difficult situation, but in ultimately a safe way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's like you're getting that practice, but knowing that you're never gonna die or be in mortal danger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing that I do observe in new students is that there tends to be this curve that I see, right? So you might get an intro beginner that starts practice. They're really into it. And then I feel like I come often enough, right? But then they come, and Tanya knows what I'm talking about because I think she went through this. They're here every day, 2 classes a day, and 6 days a week, right? And that's a lot, and they're really into it. It's great. And there are a lot of similarities in our practice to a relationship. and I'll let you kind of draw your own analogies. But it's like the honeymoon phase, right? Mm-hmm. So great. I love this. Everything about it. It's wonderful. And then for some people, like, whew, crash. It's like, where do they go? I saw them all the time, and I guess it didn't work out, right? Or they kind of settle into a more stable, like, pattern. Mm-hmm. And personally, my experience was, yes, I also went through that phase, right? And I don't even know how I did this, but I used to be able to find time in my workday to come to a day class. I just haven't been able to do that. But I made it work because I was like at the height of of my practice there. And then I would feel really bad when I had to work and I would miss one class, right? Mm-hmm. And then over time I realized the dojo is always going to be here. There are plenty of classes during the week. If I miss 1, 2, 3, 4, it's fine. I'll come next week and I'll make it up, right? Because with my work, sometimes I'm just like all consumed and won't make it to class for like a whole week, sometimes 2 weeks. Now, don't let it like go past 2 weeks, because that's pretty hard. But just know that it's okay, right? You're gonna be able to make it to more classes more often sometimes. And if you can't, because life happens, it's okay. Don't make yourself feel worse by saying, oh, I missed class again, because you can come back to it.
Right? You can come back to it. And I'll speak to something about this though, because for a lot of people, as they're trying to come back after they've had a little break, even if it's just been 2 weeks, it's like I was talking to my son about this because he's had periods of not coming and then coming, right? So he described it as, I said, it's going to be much easier once you're over this hump. He says, Mom, it doesn't feel like a hump, it feels like a mountain. So sometimes it feels like there's a big obstacle to coming back. And I think for some people, they find that obstacle too big. But for those of us who are still coming after 11 years, mm-hmm. right, that we found ways to overcome the obstacle of coming back whenever there's a break because of life, right? And that there's that ability to still come even though you feel like your practice has slipped, even though you feel like you've forgotten everything, even though you feel like you're going to look terrible, even though you feel like all those things that you could list, all those reasons that you have for not going back, you overcome those and then can come back. And I think your practice is way richer because of those, because of the just the perseverance that it took for you to come back and be in practice and still be here.
Right. Yeah. And I think I can speak on behalf of senior students, staff, and Shivu Scott, that whatever idea that when you come back after a long time, that people are going to look at you and go, they don't know what they're doing, or they've forgotten. All of that is self-imposed by you.
Totally self-imposed.
We just like to see you again, exactly. Right? So it's fine. It's not like you come back and then, Ian, you got to climb a mountain. No, it's you come back, you line up, and you just do class.
You do class.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is it. Yeah. That is it. And if you can remember that and be in the moment of being here and being in class just right here, right now, it's much easier.
It's a stroll in the park.
It's
not even a hump.
Yeah. No. You didn't even notice there was a bump in the mats. Yeah.
That's right. So another reason people need to take time away from practice is injuries.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've had
You had some, right?
Erin's taking a little time off, but you may have seen her blackcoating in class.
Yeah.
That's a great way. So I had ACL surgery. And I think I took 1 week off and then I came back black coating. And I remember I tied like a colored ribbon around my knee just so people would know, like, don't touch it. Even by accident. Like, I don't know how you can not touch it, but just like, And then I also restarted Tai Chi, but in a modified way, right? So and you can talk to any of us about how you can adjust your practice with an injury, but there is almost always something you can do And look,
and to be on the mats, even if it's just being at meditation class.
Right.
Yeah, just being here and participating in this way.
Right.
That's a way you can still be part of the dojo. Yeah.
Because with an injury, right, aside from kind of the mental obstacles that you may have from not being in the dojo for a while, it's the physical, right, obstacle as you recover from your injury. So just know that there are different things that you can do to still be in, continuing the practice and being part of the community here.
Or illnesses too. So
don't come if you have COVID.
But
you can do online class, right?
Or the recordings. One of the great things that COVID has given us is this online stuff.
That's right.
and all the recordings that we have available now too. So,
right.
Yeah.
And aside from injuries, you got to move. Sometimes across the Atlantic. Or Louise, right? Louise is Arizona, right? People move, but we still see them, and they're doing class online.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to keep up your practice until you move back here. Or if you visit, right, you can always swing by. So there's definitely many ways that you can continue to practice despite all that life throws at you.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other thoughts about how you've practiced for so long?
I think you really hit on it first with like the passion in there, just enjoying class. Just watching so many kids come through this program, like nearly every single one of them just loves being in class when they're here. Some of them don't like coming to class because the transition is really hard for them, especially the little wee ones. But that happens for adults too. Like, that it's like, oh, I've got to get to class. Oh, and it's hard. But when you're in class is fun. It's really fun. And being able to remember that more often than letting the part of it get in the way of doing class is a great way to like just continue practice, because class is fun.
So Catherine, let me ask you this, and I will share my perspective, which is there are times when I feel like, I don't really want to go, or if I'm here, my energy is not as high. Like there are those days, and that even happens to the rest ashes, right? But I still come, and it's like what I tell my kids is this is just what we do in our family. We do this, right? And so I still come because it's part of my routine.
Yeah.
Having that routine, but then what I want to share with y'all is that it's okay that you don't feel super excited about class, because I don't always feel super excited about class just because, I might be tired or, things in life, right? But you still find a way to get here. Do you have those moments too where you still feel that?
Yeah, I mean, I can be sitting at the front desk here going, I should be doing class, and I'm not in class. So it's really easy for me to just step onto class, but sometimes I don't. And it's, sometimes I've got stuff to do, which is great, but sometimes I have that feeling, and I don't step onto the mats. And but I step onto the mats enough to still have it be part of my life and part of my routine and things like that. And I'm here a certain number of times per week. I'm in class a certain number of times per week, and I do make sure I keep that up. And I'm here enough times that if I'm not in class one day, I can be in class another day. It's like it's that part at least is easy. I don't even need to get in the car because I'm already here.
Right. But we find our own ways, right, to keep it going.
Absolutely.
But I think just know, right, for those of you out there who might think, oh, I'm not feeling up for class and I don't want to like drag down the rest of the class. No. Like it happens to everyone. It's okay, right? It happens to us, and we've been around for so long, and it's getting, knowing how to get past those moments and continue practicing. That's kept us here for so long, past the decade.
Yeah, so. Yeah, it has. It has. I'm blessed to be here too.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
this is a wonderful conversation. And Happy New Year to everyone.
And then would like to leave people in the city. So you can just leave this on and then sit with the technique start meditation.
Okay. So let us all sit. Yes. I need to lean against something. Yeah. Is that okay? Do you want me to turn the camera? Okay. Do you have a timer? How do you guys do it? Okay, got it. Yeah. All right, sit comfortably. Spine straight. Close your eyes. Let go of all thoughts, worries, and cares. Be here now. If your mind wanders, bring it gently back to the breath.